Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasalli ala rasulih amma ba'd. Again, I think it got cut off on the point that relying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and inshallah Allah will help us with that conviction when we go fulfilling all the criteria that we are supposed to do, and we ask Allah for help. Inshallah, that challenge will be there. But in a way, Jawad, what he asked about the fear factor, that is a blessing in itself. Only then we will actually ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and be afraid. Try to attain the element of taqwa and issues where we know only Allah can help us. That is a great blessing. Somebody who thinks only Allah can help us. That's a blessing, because you're not trying to be the hero here. You're trying to do your best, but you know that Allah is the one who gives this as the best of the rizq, and one of the best of the wealth is pious women on this earth. So I'll move on with this section, inshallah. The obligations, again, what I want to mention, these obligations are going to be more of a psychosocial, spiritual obligation than fiqh in terms of farida, which I will touch at the end, inshallah. So, so these are more of, as I said, spiritual and psychosocial obligations to each other to maintain sukoon. So I'll start with again. Who can think of what's the first obligation for our spouse?
I think is to protect their character.
To protect their character. এখানে আমার স্লাইডটা মাশাআল্লাহ ফুল ইয়ে হয়ে what's the first line, Chachu?
Engage with each other because two people are sharing their space, time, life, personal habit to build the home of sukoon.
Yes. To engage. Hang on a second. First thing is dua. Remember the dua that we said? Can I move this? It is not one person's job. That's how I wanted to see. It is not one person's job. So when we are saying it's not one person's job, we need to build the house of sukoon, the home of sukoon, isn't it? When we do that, the spiritual obligation is the same thing that we started with when we were selecting. ওই যে দোয়া করে আমরা রব্বানা হাব লানা মিন আজওয়াজিনা ওয়া যুররিয়াতিনা কুররাতা আ'ইউনি ওয়াজআলনা লিল মুত্তাকিনা ইমামা, এই দোয়াটা is not just before, it's through the marriage until the end of days. Yeah, we want to be connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the message. It is a spiritual obligation. If my spouse does not know, she should be doing this as well. I would teach my children as well, and I want their followers and their descendants to be upon the same manhaj and same ethos as well. This is one way of doing it, that we do the dua and we do it after marriage as well, because that job is not done. Remember, every day shaitan is sending his workers to destroy the family unit, So we need to protect ourselves and make a continuous effort to do the du'as. The other obligation comes from part of Surah Al-Baqarah, and verse number, as far as I recall, 187, is Abdullah in. Yeah, is Abdullah. If you kindly recite verse 187 from Surah Al-Baqarah for us, please. Barakallahu feekum.
Assalamu alaikum. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أحل لكم ليلة الصيام الرفث إلى نسائكم هن لباس لكم وأنتم لباس لهن علم الله أنكم كنتم تختانون أنفسكم فتاب عليكم وعفى عنكم فالآن باشروهن وابتغوا ما كتب الله لكم وكلوا واشربوا حتى يتبين لكم الخيط الأبيض من الخيط الأسود من الفجر ثم أتموا الصيام إلى الليل ولا تباشروهن وأنتم عاكفون في المساجد تلك حدود الله فلا تقربوها كذلك يبين الله آياته للناس لعلهم يتقون.
Barakallah fikum. The section we want to focus from the spousal obligations is that hunna libasul lakum. They are libas for you. Wa antum, and you, Allah is talking to us. Libasul lahun. We are the libas for them. And now libas in Arabic word we are all familiar with, means the clothing. Yeah. But it has come with lot of multiple obligations and explanations. What does libas do? There is no hijab between libas and the body. আমি যে কাপড়টা পরে আছি এই কাপড়টা লিবাসটা আমার স্কিনের সাথে আমার বডির সাথে there is no hijab between them. Yeah. So we should not let anything or anyone, which includes shaitan as well, come between me and my spouse. The first layer of protection, the spiritual protection, which includes physical as well, we will discuss that. Protection is from the spouse. এবং আল্লাহ সুবহানাহু ওয়া তাআলা again উনি যে similitude use করেন is unique, and ahkamul hakimin, ওনার infinite mercy and wisdom থেকে he is saying they are our libas and we are their libas. We have to cover each other's aura in terms of, like clothes cover the aura, in terms of the mistakes, the issues, internal issues, and falling into other mistakes which can be extramarital. All of these needs to be protected by each other. And certain personal mistakes, if it requires help, if it requires going to a sheikh, if it requires going to an imam, a scholar to discuss and resolve something, that's something different. Yeah. But everyone has mistakes, their personal habits and choices. Some may be less palatable than other in terms of choices, but we protect each other. That is an obligation. Just like libas covers our aura, yeah, our private matters, private parts, the libas as a human, she or he also protects us from the outside world and those personal mistakes which are private. Libas also beautify us. আমরা যখন কাপড় পরি সুন্দর সুন্নাহ মোতাবেক সুন্দর করে ড্রেস আপ করি বাইরে যাই, it beautifies the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a husband would beautify his presence, his knowledge, his maintaining the household should be such it's beautifying her. How, again, in terms of, I think it might come later on as well, but there are overlaps here in terms of when a man is protecting his gaze and his eyes, proportionately his wife will become more beautiful to his eyes. কারণ বাইরের distraction সে দেখতেছে না, নিজেকে protect করতেছে. I am beautifying my wife like that. Yeah. Bringing commodities within the means. Yeah. মানে উচ্চাবিলাসী একদম যেটাকে ইসরাফ এবং নষ্ট না করে within the means to help each other to beautify each other is an obligation so that she can be beautiful for me and I can be smart and beautiful for her as well, because this is time of fitna. The third in terms of explanation in this element of libas is the physical intimacy. There should be no hesitance to express one's wishes. হ্যাঁ, এখন সময় না, এখন বলা যাবে না, এখন করা যাবে না, এখন এটা নিয়ে বসা যাবে না, এটা এক্সপ্রেস করা যাবে না. Whatever the need is, there is no hijab, remember. This is also part of it. Yeah. If we cannot do that, we will fall into mistakes as humans. And it has happened. If we go into the stories of divorces and the reasons of divorces that our brothers and sisters have come up to us in terms of, sisters didn't come to me, in terms of through the family, including my own family members from 60 plus age. Their age is 60 plus, going through divorce because of this matter of not expressing their wish and desire to each other and help each other protect each other. They are going through divorce when they're in their 60s. Subhanallah, it's shocking and scary. Yeah. If we have hijab here, je eta ekhon bolle, eta ekhon Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam once came to the household. He went to one of the mothers and had the marital relationship, did his ghusl and came out to the minbar and addressed everybody. Subhanallah. This is how important it is. Yeah. That if you see something outside, চোখের হেফাজত করলেও চোখে পড়ে যেতে পারে। এটা দিস ইজ ট্রু, সত্য এখনো, রাদার এখন বেশি সত্য। হ্যাঁ, কাভার করা, আনকাভার করা সিচুয়েশন এমন, ড্রেস আপ এমন যে চোখের হেফাজত করে চোখ নামাই নিলেও চোখে কিছু পড়বে, এত খারাপ অবস্থা। But Prophet ﷺ says, if you see something in someone, you come home and you go to your wife because she has what you have just seen as well. যেন মনের মধ্যে যেই ডিজায়ারটা আসছে বা আসতে পারে, ওইটাকে ইগনোর করে দাবায় না দিয়ে you fulfill the desire to halal and you get reward. This is halal and this is like sadaqah, and we know those hadith. Yeah. Otherwise একটু জমতে থাকে, জমতে জমতে এক পর্যায়ে people stop liking their spouses, stop being close spiritually with them, so physically there will be a lack of closeness, and then they fall apart. And we also লিবাসের এক্সপ্লেনেশনটা কি, আমরা যখন শীতকাল তখন যেরকম ডিফারেন্ট টাইপস অফ ক্লোদিংস এন্ড লেয়ার্স আমরা অ্যাডপ্ট করি যেন ঠান্ডা না লাগে, হ্যাঁ, সুইটেবল ফর দ্য ওয়েদার, ঠিক সেরকম যখন ট্রায়াল হচ্ছে ফ্যামিলিতে, ফিতনা হচ্ছে, ঝামেলা হচ্ছে, শুধু শাহওয়ার ফিতনা না, শুধু ম্যাটেরিয়ালিস্টিক ফিতনা না, এটা সোশ্যাল হতে পারে, ইকোনমিক হতে পারে, এবং অন্যান্য অনেক কিছু, সামাজিক অনারের হতে পারে। হ্যাঁ, যেরকম রাসূল সাল্লাল্লাহু আলাইহি ওয়াসাল্লামের জীবনে তো হয়েছে, আম্মাজান আয়েশা রাদিয়াল্লাহু আনহার ব্যাপারে যে স্ক্যান্ডালের কিসাতুল ইফক, যত ট্রায়াল হবে, ডিপেন্ডিং অন দ্য ট্রায়াল উই হ্যাভ টু হ্যাভ দ্য লেভেল অফ প্রোটেকশন and the libas, the level of aura and the protection for our spouse. It's not going to be the same at different stages of life, at this different stages of fitna. Yeah. So this is a huge obligation. এটা আমরা কেউ মাস্টার করতে পারলে, যারা করতে পারবো তাদের জন্য সুকুন মেইনটেইন করাটা ইজি হয়ে যাবে ইনশাআল্লাহ। So next one is fulfilling desires. It's directly linked ইচ্ছাকৃতভাবেই করা, and it's one of the most important ones. Yeah, so that the destruction of the world is outside in the world. Yeah, and fulfilling each other's desires, including beautifying for each other, যেটা আমি মেনশন করলাম, এটার সাথে লিংক জন্য অলরেডি মেনশন করা হয়ে গেছে। It is an obligation, and it is more rewardable than nafil ibadah. We want our wives to be beautiful for us. We have to be smart and presentable and beautiful to them as well. Yeah. starting with perfume and itar and lihya and in a presentable way, so that her mind is not distracted to someone when comes on a lecture, on a screen, or on the way to the masjid or in the marketplace. It should not distract them either. So it's linked to that libas where the desire needs to be fulfilled, and to do that, our regular uh, interaction with our spouses needs to be looked at as well. And that comes to the next point, which is very, very important. And most of the people, I think, might be weak in this. Before I go to that little section, I just remembered a little joke. One of our brothers in my institute, I was sending a message to my wife, Abdullah, and how is everything? We regularly send messages. Technology can be a blessing and can be a harm as well. Use it for blessing and you get reward for it as well, inshallah. That, please, how is everything? Words of love, words of affection between husband and wife. There are pet words where they, like Prophet ﷺ used to call Aisha radiallahu anha with a nickname, Aish, shorter version of the name. Yeah. So to have a short nickname, a loving name for each other is from the Sunnah. That's why we need to learn the Sunnah and the behavior of Prophet ﷺ in the household, which is this section, part 4. Yeah, the tangible acts of coupledom means little tasks which builds up to the greater cause. Like Prophet ﷺ used to. Sorry, the joke I was going to say, I forgot. So I was mentioning that I was sending these messages and, how are you and love you and, with whatever, the affectionate emojis and everything. So I was mentioning that I was messaging my wife. I can't remember why I mentioned it, either for the reason of dawah or he asked. I can't remember now. So he said, okay, let me do it. So he started sending message to his wife as well. And then he looked at me, this brother, and laughed. He said, Dr. Sabah, we're not used to it. And he said, my wife replied, because he sent a message like, love you, I hope everything's okay, I'll see you in the evening. Whatever message he messaged, message of love and affection, yeah. He replied back, is everything okay? Because she's not used to it. She's got a shock. অসুস্থ হয়ে গেছে নাকি, মানে মারা যাচ্ছে নাকি, হাসপাতালে নাকি, হঠাৎ এই কথা. But this needs to be regular. This is not just from the beginning and whenever we feel like. It has to be regular. And it's in the Sunnah of Prophet ﷺ. He would kiss before leaving the house for Salah. Why would Aisha radiallahu anha, a young woman, the youngest of all the wives, would disclose this secret of the household to the ummah, because she knows this is one of the key things which makes her feel sukoon. This is my man. And when you're leaving the house, this is for Salah, which is next door. Like her wall and the wall of Masjid Nawawi is the same wall. Yeah, it's just a door. You put their head in, it's in the masjid. Their head out, it's in the house of Aisha radiallahu anha. But he still gives her a kiss and leaves. Imagine we go to work through traffic. এই যে কয়েকদিন আগে একটা young man যে মারা গেল, কি spring pad পড়ে মারা গেল. You do not know that you will be able to come back in the afternoon. Yeah. So leaving home with a kiss, drinking from the same spot. Prophet ﷺ would turn the cup and would put the lip on the same spot of the lip of the cup where Aisha radiallahu anha's lip would be. These are the things make the women and the spouses have the mawaddah, have the confidence in each other that yes, we are there. These small things matter. Just fixing the big house is easy, but these small things to do it musalsal can, even in worship, Allah says favorite of his slaves are the ones who does the worship, does it small but consistently with istiqamah. Yeah, he would play with them. He would, stand until, one of the Eid days, until Aisha radiallahu anha was tired. Okay, I've seen enough. Her chin was on the shoulder of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam for until she wanted to, and he's the head of state. When the acrobats were throwing spears, doing some acrobatics, মেলার মতো আর কি খেলা দেখতেছিলেন, she wanted to see that. And Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked, is that enough? She said, no, it's not enough yet. So she watched more and more until she said, yeah, that's enough. And then they went. Yeah. So not just mubashara, in terms of these small acts, the daily acts, which keeps the mawaddah ignited and alive, is an obligation. Otherwise, there are, the distractions and vultures around the world in the name of, shaitan, minal ins and minal jinn, are going to destroy our marriages. Next is the process which many of us now lack. The process of gaining a self-respect and self-honor. Yeah, we have to learn that because it's destroyed by the society. Only then we will possess the protective jealousy, which is ghira. Ba Bangla mone hoy bole ki gairot. Ghira is Arabic word, ghira. যে আমার হাজবেন্ডের দিকে মহিলারা তাকাচ্ছে, কথা বলছে, তাকে নিয়ে কথা বলছে, এটা মহিলাদের অস্থির লাগার কথা। This is my man. And for women it's more. Yeah. The ghira of Umar radiallahu anhu was such that he couldn't see people were watching and looking the shape and the body and the face and the whatever you want to say of Ummahatul Mu'mineen, Prophet Prophet's wives. And he said, why don't you ask the women to cover themselves up properly so that people don't see them, like they're not exposed. Yeah. Yeah. And the verse of the hijab and jilbab and all these things came out from his wisdom, from his, he's an inspired man. If there was a prophet, it would be Umar radiallahu anhu. We know that. Yeah. So having protected jealousy is actually an obligation, and it needs to be done with wisdom and done in a way. Remember, I think Rayad was mentioning, it doesn't become, we possess protective jealousy, which should not be understood or translated as we are imprisoning the women. Yeah. Our sense of protective jealousy should make her feel more honored that this is my man. He doesn't my dishonor. এভাবে ওপেনলি পণ্যের মতো ইউজ করা হয়, যেভাবে প্রোডাক্টের মতো ইউজ করা হয়, যেভাবে ফিমেল অ্যাটায়ার এন্ড অবয়ব এগুলির মধ্যে এই লো লেভেলের না, আমরা এই জিনিসটা আমাদেরকে একসাথে বুঝে গ্রো করতে হবে, এবং we should have it for each other. And listening to each other, regular consultation, mashwara, major decision has to be together. Take advice. Prophet ﷺ would come back to our mother Khadija radiallahu anha when he was afraid after seeing Jibril alayhi salam in the cave. It's a major event. Who is he going to? He's not going to his uncle. He's not going to his grandfather's mara gese. I'm talking about was it Abu Talib and others, people from the same tribe, noblemen. He's gone to his wife. That's why our wives has to be knowledgeable. That basic knowledge that we should all have to be compassionate, have to, all the other factors that we just discussed, they should have it as well. They should have it as well so that they can give us the right advice. Even হুদাইবিয়ার সন্ধিতে হালাক করে ফেলা, যে এখন তো উমরা করা যাবে না, কেউ শুনতেছে না কথা. Disobeying Prophet ﷺ is an act of kufr. I'm not calling them kafir, but act of kufr, because onara emotionally eto locked, they couldn't take it. আমরা আসছি করতে পারবো না. রাসূল সাল্লাল্লাহু আলাইহি ওয়াসাল্লামকে অ্যাডভাইস দেওয়া হলো যে ওনার woman, she said, you shave your head, you will see they will follow. When they saw Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam shaving his head, everybody did it. So consultation and mashura is a key obligation, where they will feel included in the family decisions, they will feel honored, and they will feel they are building the part of the family for future together and not a second tier in. Yes, الرجال قوام على النساء. This is our responsibility, not that physically we are just more powerful. We are responsible over the women so that we train them and we make them co-partner and consult them, and then we do. And especially in the matters of household, it has to be her decision. That's her kingdom. She's the queen of the house. So she has to be able to decide the things in the household, and her opinion matters. আউটসাইড ওয়ার্ল্ড কোথায় কি কি চলতেছে, কোন রাস্তায় যাব কি, সেটা আমাদের ডিসিশন, আমরা ভালো বুঝবো ইনশাল্লাহ, বিকজ আমরা রেগুলারলি ওই রাস্তা দিয়ে যাই। কোথায় সেফ, কোথায় আনসেফ, কোথায় কাজ চলতেছে, কোথায় জ্যাম হয়ে যাবে, probably more acquainted, yeah. But in terms of listening to each other and having consultation and regular mashwara, including the shopping, has to be a mashwara. কি কি লাগবে? Building smaller matters with mashwara, that means the bigger matters will also fall under the umbrella of mashwara. Just doing the bigger ones, sometimes small things will run away বা ছুটে যেতে পারে. But mashwara is a key element, and which is part of an obligation. Bearing patience, Prophet ﷺ also said that if we are not patient, sorry, if you add patience into something, we might need another little link. Let me quickly finish it. Still about 9 minutes left, inshallah. Inshallah, we'll finish. প্রফেসর সাল্লামের কাছে যখন আয়েশা রাদিয়াল্লাহু আনহার ঘরে অন্য আরেকজন উম্মুল মুমিনিন উনি খাবার খাইছেন, she got upset and she smashed that pot. But Prophet Sallam just smiled and told the যে কৃতদাসী নিয়ে আসছিল বা যে মেয়েটা নিয়ে আসছিল খাবারটা, বলছে যে তোমাদের আম্মা জান আজকে একটু আপসেট, বলে he cleaned the floor. He gave a pot back to the woman, similar pot, এটা গিয়ে ফেরত দিয়ে আসো. So having patience in times when they have a right as well, because it was her night and she didn't like that, she can't take care of her own husband. Why somebody else is sending, they're co-wives, they're mothers of the believers, but still there is a protective jealousy element here as well, and we have to have patience on each other. And that all of these are linked. Supporting each other will come through that, because we will have to overlook these small matters. And Prophet ﷺ said, the women, Adam alayhi salam's partner, our mother, alayhi salam ke banano hoise Adam alayhi salamer rib theke, from the crooked part of the rib, and it's the top part. আমরা যারা মেডিকেল পড়ি আমরা জানি এই যে টপ ফার্স্ট ক্লাভিকলে পরে the first rib is the most crooked, সবচেয়ে বেশি bent ওইটা, floating rib না, subhanallah. The examples and the similes that Allah and His Messenger given us, every word and everything has guidance. Don't try to straighten it, because there will be differences of opinions. We have to be supportive of each other and with each other's mistakes. What does it mean? Because Prophet ﷺ said, again, these words are from the hadith. If you do not like something in your spouse, you love some other aspects. Nobody is perfect. Do not expect a perfect spouse. Expect a spouse who had good qualities and is a human, where there are things which will happen. Yeah. Prophet ﷺ's household had discord as well. How? Again, I'm saying with utmost love and respect, because through this we learn how to deal with each other. Prophet ﷺ once, he didn't speak to all of our mothers for 1 whole month, moon cycle. Didn't speak. He was so upset. To ask for, other kings have all this lavishness, we do not have this, we do not have that. And he was saying that he was upset. Yeah. If you want, then you can go. If you want Allah and His Messenger, then this is what you have. Yeah. A slave king, not just king in the conventional sense. Yeah. So there are things that we will love about our spouse, and there are things which are not to our liking, but it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Everybody is human. Everybody has weaknesses, including us, the one who's trying to manage the family. It's very important to remember that. And this is an important thing I added in one of my last revision cycle, that a family got destroyed. And I've heard from scholars as well. A brother came to me and asked, between a good, loving moment, we asked each other and we said, it's okay, we love each other so much, nothing can break our bond, all that. This is from Shaitan, by the way. Anything happened, anyone you had before, it doesn't matter. It's okay to disclose, because we know each other so much now. And she disclosed something, and now he can't live with himself. Whatever happened before has happened before. When a person, remember, this is the ideal scenario, is trying to attain taqwa, has submitted. The istikhara is what? Total submission. After discussion and istishara, then istikhara, and the khutbah of haja and khutbah of marriage is done. It is as if it's a new start. Anything before is all null and void. Especially in the context in this country where we are in the West. এই আমাদের ওস্তাদ ইমাম আলবানী রাহিমাহুল্লাহ ওনার ছাত্র আমাদেরকে বলতেছিলেন যে উনি যখন ম্যারেজ কন্ট্রাক্ট করেন বা ডিসকাস করেন, যখন কোনো মুসলমান একজন মানে যেটাকে বলে আহলে কিতাব কে নিয়ে আসছে, যে আহলে কিতাবকে তো বিয়ে করা যায়, আমরা বিয়ে করব, রাজি আছি, এই আহলে কিতাব। আহলে কিতাবকে বিয়ে করার এক সবচেয়ে বড় শর্ত শুধু আহলে কিতাব হইতে হবে তা না, এর সাথে তারা হইতে হবে মুহসানাত। মুহসানাত মানে they have to be virgin, no boyfriend, no previous relationship and anything. So Sheikh বলেন যে if you accept Islam, I'm not going to ask about your past, because from before Islam, when you accept Islam and do the shahada, it's the tawbah of the best form. You have left the world and now you are Muslim. We'll not ask what happened before, and you are free to marry this man. But if you want to stay in the state of Ahlul Kitab, যে তুমি যে রিলিজনে ওটাতেই থাকবা, we have to ask, are you muhsanat or not? You have to say, she has to either lie or declare or be truthful one, yes, I am from the muhsanat, then they can marry. Otherwise, if they had a boyfriend before, if they had a relationship before, they're not be allowed to be married to Muslim men. তো এইটা একটা কন্ডিশন। তো বলার উদ্দেশ্য এইটা, এই পিছনের জিনিস জিজ্ঞেস করে মানুষ বিপদে পড়ছে। এত ভালোবাসা, এত মহব্বত, এই যে মহব্বত, এটা মহব্বতের জোশে জিজ্ঞেস করে ফেলছে এবং বলে ফেলছে যে না, আমার তো হাজবেন্ড, তারপরে আর থাকতে পারে না, হাজবেন্ডরা থাকতে পারে না, তাদের প্রোটেক্টিভ জেলাসি তখন এক্সট্রা টকবক করে, হ্যাঁ, and they falter and the sukoon is destroyed. Again, what is destroyed? The sukoon is destroyed. Even if they stayed together, there's no sukoon in that life. Always suspicious after that. Always কোথায় গেল চেক করতেছে। Yeah. So don't give into, আমরা আমাদের যে মুহাসাবা, ওই যে গিবা এলিমেন্টটা বললাম, আমরা আমাদের বেস্ট হিসাব নিকাশ করে বুঝে শুনে ইস্তেখারা করে আসছি, তারপরে পিছনে কার কোথায় কি হয়েছিল, কে বলল, এগুলি নিয়ে শয়তানের ওয়াসওয়াসার আর ধোঁকার মধ্যে পড়া ঠিক হবে না। এবং this is not part of being protective, this is not part of being, it's like self-respect as well, asking these questions, part of being the libas that Allah wants us to be. And one of the last reminder is this, that we always have to remember as men, the best amongst us, Prophet ﷺ said, that who are best to their family, to their wives. Because the wife sees everything. The mask is lifted from public eyes. Bashay eshe, they know our flaws, our weakness, our desires which we cannot make public, our personal mistakes. They know everything. If a woman certifies this is a good man, he is a good man. Woman means what here? Wife. So our goodness and certificate of being a good man depends on our spouse. So we need to be good to them, and we need to be just to them, and we need to be protective of them, and we need to be the guide who acts through knowledge and increases her knowledge and be the best friend. Yeah. That by looking at us, they will be reminded of Allah. By that, talking to us, they will increase this knowledge. and while staying with us, they will be aware of Akhirah more and more. That is what a relationship is all about. And that ends about this little section of spousal obligations. And I have this just as a highlight in last 1 minute. That so many things, and we're not going to discuss this, it's just a highlight that you who are not married yet, you have an obligation to fulfill these attainments of these knowledge. That's what I mean. You need to know the conditions of marriages. Otherwise, how will you? This is a farida. You can't do an act without knowledge. There's ijab and there is qabul. Permission. Ijab is actually permission, yeah? And qabul is acceptance. There has to be 2 witnesses. There has to be wali. There has to be mahar. Types of marriages. There are haram types of marriage, nikah, shigar, mu'ta, all of these things. Yeah. Otherwise, we might fall into haram. Then there are rights of each other. We mentioned some of it. The sunnah, how Prophet ﷺ treated his wives from his seerah. The fiqh of intimacy is very, very important. The fiqh, halal, haram. The ghusl and tayammum is must in terms of knowing how to do it. The fard. And the kafara, if somebody has marital relationship during haid, what is the kafara? There is a kafara at the beginning of the time. If somebody falls into that mistake at the end, towards the end of 10 days, when he couldn't hold himself or they couldn't hold themselves, there is kafara. Elements differ. Resolution. Marital discord hole kibhabe mediation kore, Qur'aner ayat ache. Mediation kore